Greater Media Broadcast News.
Welcome to another edition of Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Shea, bringing you the top headlines in Central New Jersey. Here's some of the stories we're covering this week. The current plight of first aid squads, business loans for veterans, the 1 millionth GI Bill recipient, a recount in Red Bank, and how New Jersey residents can help typhoon victims in the Philippines. First aid squads in many local communities are facing a conundrum: fewer volunteers and a greater demand for services. While most towns have historically counted on nonprofit volunteer squads to provide basic life support services, those groups are now struggling to maintain members due to social and economic changes. These include the growing number of dual-income households, as many squads are unable to find help during the weekday when would-be volunteers are at work. For many communities, the solution has been a combination of paid and volunteer services, but state regulations and a volatile economy continue to pose a threat to emergency medical systems. For more on how local communities are adjusting, see this week's editions of Greater Media newspapers. And here's Mark Rosman with more headlines from this week's papers.
Monmouth County Acting Prosecutor Christopher Gramiccioni made an appearance at the Colts Neck Library recently to talk about an ongoing epidemic in Monmouth County. That epidemic is heroin. Young people all over the county are using it. It's cheap and it's readily available. That's the message that the acting prosecutor had for the audience that turned up. What he said was, this is not a problem that affects just places like Long Branch or Asbury Park. Quite the contrary, it affects suburban communities like Colts Neck, Manalapan, and Marlboro. The news transcript has a report on the prosecutor's talk at the Colts Neck Library, and it's quite enlightening and something people should check out in this week's news transcript.
The Woodbridge community is coming together to support a family that lost its home in a fire. Here's Jessica D'Amico.
A family of 8 that was left homeless by a fire that tore through their Avenel home last week is receiving assistance from their community. Woodbridge Mayor John McCormick is spearheading fundraising efforts for the family, accepting donations of everything from cash and gift cards to new clothing and bath and bedroom supplies. Items can be brought to a spaghetti dinner fundraiser that is set for November 16th from 2 to 8 p.m. at the St. Andrews Knights of Columbus in Avenel. For more information, contact the Woodbridge Mayor's office. Back to you, Susie.
Thanks, Jessica. And here's a roundup of headlines from this week's papers. A new initiative will help veterans start and grow their businesses in the coming year. Starting on January 1st, the U.S. Small Business Administration will not charge an upfront fee for veteran loans up to $350,000. The program will continue until the end of next year. Middlesex County College student and Army veteran Stephen Ferraro has become the 1 millionth person to benefit from the post-9/11 GI Bill. The bill supports the educational endeavors of veterans who have served on active duty for 90 or more days since September 10, 2001. So far, the program has awarded $30 billion in benefits. In Red Bank, a recount may take place for 2 borough council seats. In last week's election, Democratic incumbent Kathleen Horgan and Republican challenger Cindy Burnham were only 1 point apart, with a total of 25 votes separating the 3 candidates. And this week we have a new sports segment with Greater Media's WCTC's Bruce Johnson on Rutgers basketball. Bruce has been the voice of Rutgers football, men's basketball, and women's basketball for more than 23 years. After that, we have Tim Morris with more on local sports.
The 2013-2014 Rutgers basketball seasons are now underway, and new Scarlet Knight men's coach Eddie Jordan and Hall of Fame women's coach Vivian Stringer have different agendas. Yes, both want to win as many games as possible, but it's more than that. Jordan, the former RU All-America point guard from the famous Final Four team of 1976, has been brought back to the banks of the old Raritan to restore his alma mater's reputation in the wake of that ugly Mike Rice scandal. Fast Eddie would like nothing more than to fly beneath the radar all season long. Meanwhile, Vivian Stringer has seen her program slide into irrelevancy in the last couple of years, no longer a presence in the AP Top 25, and not even in a postseason tournament last spring. Stringer wants to reappear on the national landscape, making noisy headlines all season long about her Scarlet Knights knocking off nationally ranked teams, just like in the old days when she went to 2 Final Fours. Good luck to both of them. they'll need it. I'm Bruce Johnson on 1450 WCTC and WCTCAM.com.
In Central Jersey Group 3, undefeated Ocean Township is hosting Warren Hills on Friday night. Defending Group 5 champion South Brunswick goes for back-to-back titles, starting with its first-round game at Trenton on Saturday afternoon. Undefeated Manalapan, the top seed in Group 5, begins its quest for its first state title at home against Brick Memorial Friday night. And three-time defending sectional champion Saraville opens on the road at Monroe Friday in its bid for 4 straight. Tim Morris for Greater Media Newspapers.
AJ Perry has become so important to us, it really feels like they're part of our family. It's his turn to fold.
AJ Perry will clear any drain, anytime, for only $149.
And that, my friend, is why
I love those guys.
A ceremony at the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial honored those who fought for this country. Keith Hugh Miller has the story.
Hundreds of veterans from multiple wars, ages, and all walks of life packed the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Holmdel on November 11th to honor all those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. The annual Veterans Day ceremony featured speeches by Senator Cory Booker and Matthew Craw, a Marine veteran and a Little Silver resident who published a book about his experience fighting in Operation Iraqi Freedom. In this week's Independent, we discuss how issues like post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injuries, and other complications have significantly impacted the lives of New Jersey servicemen and women after they return home. We also talked to Booker, who says he will use his position in Washington to push for more veteran services and programs that could help them find jobs and more easily transition back into civilian life.
Typhoon Haiyan devastated parts of the Philippines, and groups in central New Jersey are already reaching out to help. Here's Tom Castles with the ways you can contribute.
The human toll is still being calculated, but no figure, however large, could possibly illustrate the superlative level of human suffering afflicting the Philippines in the wake of Typhoon Haiyan. In a global humanitarian effort, several local, national, and international organizations are providing avenues for New Jersey residents to lend a hand. To find out how you can get involved, pick up your local GM News publication today.
For more in-depth coverage and additional stories, pick up your Greater Media newspaper today. This is Susie Xie. Thanks for tuning in.